Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to another unboxing video. Today I'm going to be looking at Ascendant, superpowered role-playing game of infinite possibilities. This is by Alexander Macris. I gotta tell you, he sold it to me based on the comic book, because he came on our show. He talked to us about the Ascendant comic book. Well, after looking through the comic book and him telling us that everything that happened in the comic book was figured out and based in the game itself, I had to take a look at this game. This thing is huge. It will not even fit all the way under the camera. And it is thick. It is like almost an extra finger joint thick. Now, this particular version I bought directly from Autark Publishing. You can get it on DTRPG and PDF. I think they also sell a POD. It is stitch bound, and for a book this size, you really want something that is stitch bound. You do not want something that's glue bound, because it'll come apart. Oh man, this is a big one. I'm gonna have to set it from one side to the other. So we're actually kind of looking at it a little bit in reverse. This is the second printing, February 2022. It has a very considerable table of contents. These are very small, and it's got like 4 pages of table of contents. Then it has all of our backer credits, which I didn't back this one. I got in on it way too late. We start off with some world building stuff here, a lot of things to get you up to speed on what the world is all about. We actually have started getting into the introduction now. The inspiration for this is, and he says that it's the 1984 TSR Marvel Superheroes game and the 1985 DC Heroes game, which I had both. I'm a big fan of FASA RIP. I still like it, and there's still a few people out there who are using it and rebuilding it as a new system. And that's kinda, sorta what he did, but not necessarily, because Alex uses a different system for figuring out how everything is measured, and every single thing in the book has these supermetric points, and they tell you what the quantity of measurement for everything is. Like, there's tables for everything: distance, speed, time, weight, density, volume, money, information, fame, just anything you can think of has a value added to it, so that you can figure out exactly how much of anything is in play at any one time. And this is important because, like, there's a big difference between picking up and throwing a gallon jug of milk at somebody and picking up an anvil and throwing it at somebody. And both are something that you might do in a superhero role-playing game, you know? Or picking up a car and throwing it at somebody. You know, how fast is it traveling? You know, what is the curvature of the Earth in relation to the distance it's falling versus, you know, the point of impact? You know, how much speed is it going to pick up by going at that trajectory, that kind of thing. And Alex, just, you know, genius math nerd that he is, figured all these things out, quantified it, put it into tables, and then he built the game around it, which is pretty cool. But, I mean, like, yeah, here's benchmarks for everything. I mean, like, a movie rental benchmark is 8, you know, in terms of like money and that sort of thing, you know, $2.50. He's got something in here for on time. Yeah, here, this is my favorite. For time at 25 is 4 years, or the George R.R. Martin release schedule. He's got little in jokes like this. I think he's got one there for Twitter as well. But I love stuff like this. But again, you know, we're not really here to evaluate the system so much as the book itself, what you're getting, how it looks. I can already tell you the game is going to be pretty phenomenal. I just need to sit down and read the rules and learn how to play it. And if you're wondering why I did not unbox this on the air, it's because the box itself was massive. It was so well packed with foam and insulation and everything that it would have taken me an extra 15 minutes on this video to unpack it on the air. So I just went ahead and pulled it all out and took a look through it. And if you're wondering why I'm familiar with it, it's because prior to our interview with Alexander Macris, I bought the PDF so that I could have some knowledge of Ascendant before we started talking about the comic book. Well, I did read the PDF. I read through it a little bit. And then, of course, we got into the discussion with Alex. And, yeah, he sold me on this big time. So now I'm trying to sell you on it, I guess. Got some great artwork. Look at that. Some good girl art. He used a variety of artists on this. Have all the character creation, your concepts, character power, character points. And this, like I said, this is a thick book, but pointing out some really good artwork here where I do. These are power ranges, with the protection for your power SPs are. I'm actually, if I learn how to play this, I am looking forward to picking up some more books for this, like his villain books and some of the other stuff. Here's some of our actual powers, like darkness control. The base score is 0. The duration by effect, the variable cost is 20 points per. The base cost is 100. So everything's point by, I believe, which kind of makes sense. I know the system will let you kind of emulate everything from like a street level vigilante all the way up to, say, Superman class heroes. And they have examples of all those in the back of the book. But you have all your pretty standard comic book trope powers like sound control, tech control, water control, time control, absorption fields, deflection fields, force fields, super healing, invulnerability, immortality, regeneration. I mean, pretty much anything you can think of for heroes is in here, and if it's not, I'm pretty sure he's already got a book in the works for adding it in. I don't know. One thing I'll have to ask him is if he can stat up the mystery men for me, because I would really know. I'd like to know how the spleen, how his power rates. If you haven't seen that movie, you absolutely should go see it. Rent it. It's old. It's been out for a while. I'm sure you can find it cheap. Obviously, this is some mind manipulation, because why would this ugly dude have 2 chicks rubbing his feet if he wasn't manipulating their mind? Burrowing. That is a great character. I mean, I don't know who she is, but I miss when we had superheroes who dressed like that and everybody thought it was okay. Nowadays, I mean, I guess we can't do that anymore. We have to cover up our superheroes as much as possible. Unless you're male. If you're a male superhero, you're allowed to be naked. That's what the last Thor movie did, right? We are Strike. She is in everything. Alex, do you like this particular hero a lot, or did you just kind of know what everybody wanted to see? These are the powers. And in case you're wondering, everything here has got color coding. So if you got to find it quickly, you can. This book, unfortunately, does not have an inbuilt bookmark, which is my only regret on this. I mean, you know, for a book this big, it really needs a few inbuilt bookmarks. So maybe on the next run, Alex. But yeah, we got stretching, we have invention, pathogen synthesis. Wow. Power replication. There we go. Then we have skills. These are all the skills and things. We have perks and drawbacks on top of that. And yes, some more really great girl art. So this got a full power system. It's got a full skill system. It's pretty much, it's got anything you could want for a super heroic role-playing game. In fact, I imagine with a little bit of tweaking, you could probably turn this into a heroic role-playing game, like a standard fantasy role-playing game. You just have to adjust the power levels and stuff. How hard would it be to, imagine, your fighters and stuff having certain low-level abilities like regeneration and things to help them out. It's got weapons in here. It's got all your real-world limits. Got some personal equipment type things. These are the equipment tables, object catalogs. It gives you their cost. It gives you their CP values, power flaws and things. If you want to know stats on a jumbo jetliner, how big it is, that's in here. And this stuff is important because, these are things your characters could encounter. Your heroes could, be trying to stop a bulldozer, or they could be trying to pick up a bulldozer and throw it. So you're going to need to know these things. Another great piece of girl art here. Ooh, full splash page of that other one. Just some full fun splash pages in general here. Some of our heroes, villains. Wow, this artist is really good. Challenge action mechanics. And these have color codes and things on them too. Teaming up actions. So you can do things like fastball specials and stuff like that. I think he actually mentioned that you could do stuff like that. And he's got a formula for figuring it all out. Knockback. He's got all these formulas for knockback calculated in here. Why? Because all these formulas are important for role-playing games. And this is all kind of like realistic, which is something I like about it. Because you think about it, it's like, on the one hand, you know, it's no big deal for you to walk over and maybe pick up a bowling ball, right? A 16-pound bowling ball. It's not going to make much difference. But if you had the strength, the skeletal structure, and the ability to pick up, like, let's say, a loaded semi, you could do it. The problem is, it's like you have to worry about things like, you know, how far into the earth would that compress you? Because you got 2 little feet, 2 little legs, trying to support the mass and bulk of something as big as a, you know, as a semi. So these kind of things are important. And they're things you think about whenever you're doing superheroic role-playing. You know, in the fantasy games, nobody ever thinks about picking up a castle and throwing it at somebody, right? But in this, you probably could if you had enough strength. Moving in hazardous conditions. This guy has thought of everything. And I imagine this is all the result of playtesting, probably very extensive playtesting. And that may be one of the reasons why this is such a big book. I mean, we're up to page 292 here, and we're still going. I think we're just like barely through half the book. Breaking and entering, cover, obscurity, listening, all the different variables for hearing clarity, effective range, maximum effective range, or sound of earshot. This is all figured out. There's nothing left to chance. This has a mechanic in place for everything. I would seriously love to either watch Alexander run a game of this or be in a game of him running this, or maybe as a side Benny, you know, maybe I can talk Grim into running this. I can usually talk Grim into running anything. And some more Great Girl art. You know, he knows who his buyers are. We have interactions with NPCs. We have influencing a crowd. Intimidating NPCs. We've got a whole mechanics-based system here for intimidating NPCs. Investigations. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Diverting an asteroid. Or obliterating an asteroid. Wow. I may have to buy another copy of this just so I can give this to a friend of mine who is a superhero nerd. I bet he would enjoy reading this. Might even enjoy running it. We get into some more combat stuff. This is actually the combat section. And again, I mean, anything you can think of that you could do in combat, he's got a mechanic in place for it. We actually get to our game mastering section here. It's like to have facilities, membership in an organization, sample organization, missions with some random tables to let you sandbox your missions. Scene structures, challenge ratings, how you get hero points, character degradation. And then we finally get to Appendix A, the character index on page 445. We start to take a look at some of the characters, and we see here what their values are. 12 Sigma is pretty powerful. Now, American Eagle is supposed to be like his top level, like Superman level character, and you can see, you know, he's a 1040 CP character, which pretty much, you know, makes him mostly unstoppable. You got other characters who are very similar to certain Marvel characters that we may know. Great artwork. You know, the fact that he can actually put all these guys on a single page, for as complex as they are, is really pretty cool. Says a lot about the system and conservation of how much space he really needs, because he's got a full background for everybody. He's got all their powers and skills and abilities. He's got all their stat blocks, everything. And he actually has critters. He's got stats for NPCs. Manatee. He's got an appendix here for conditions, like bleeding. Then he has a appendix C, which is like real world superpowers. Stuff like, you know, how to keep it down a little bit. This is pretty neat, like, Memory 48. Mary Lou Henner and 24 other people on record have hyperthysemia, which is a hyperphotographic memory. Mega savant Kim Peek could read a complex book in an hour and memorize it entirely. So if you wanted to look up real-world examples and compare it to how powerful these things really are, you have some kind of benchmark here, which is pretty useful. We have attribute substitutions, which, come on now, camera. And then finally, yes, we have an index. It is extremely tiny print, but yeah, a book this big, you gotta have an appendix. It's 2 pages, and the last page of it is page 496. This is a 496-page superheroic role-playing tome. It's very impressive. I don't think there's anything he hadn't thought of, and if there is something he hadn't thought of, I'm pretty sure he's probably if he doesn't already have a supplement in the works, I'm pretty sure he's probably released something by now. A lot of people are playing this at the moment. I know of at least 30 people who are playing this at the moment. I would like to play it, so I hope I get a chance. This really seems like a cool game. If you want to get a copy, I have links both to Autart, where you can actually buy a Primo copy like this one, and Drive-Thru RPG, where you can either buy a POD or you can buy the PDF. But anyway, that was Ascendant, a superpowered role-playing game of infinite possibilities by Alexander Macris. It is awesome. It's going to take me a long time to read this because it's massive. But I look forward to actually playing this someday. Seems like it's going to be fun. Until next time, YouTubers out there, and all you folks out there in YouTube land, y'all take care, and I hope you will catch me, your T-shirted historian, on The Week in Geek.